Right. Hello, welcome to the Delulu and Solulu Podcast. I'm your host, Shardene.
And I'm your host as well, Laura.
Hi. So the Delulu and Solulu Podcast is basically where we take Delulus, our Delulus, your Delulus. Delulus are basically goals, wishes, dreams that you have that can seem like a bit of a delusion because they're so big and you don't know how to get there. And we're going to come up with a solution, the Solulu, for those Delulus. So we're going to talk about our Delulus today. And honestly, do you know what I thought about today? I was just at the gym and I was sitting in the pool and it's outdoors and I was looking at the stars in the sky and I saw the International Space Station fly by and I was like, this was my Delulu once upon a time.
Was it?
Yeah.
Where you were once upon a time?
The once upon a time I think I was just like, my Delulu would be to sit outdoors in a pool at night and just be so relaxed and have time for myself. And then be like with people and I can talk to them. And I don't know, I just felt like this is definitely part of a bigger Delulu that I had like 5 years ago.
So where were you? Is that something you aspired to have and you weren't having?
Yeah, like I just feel like the life that I'm living, my past self would be so happy.
But you know
that I'm living.
You have to be so grateful because your past self got you to where you are now.
I love myself.
So if you have that Delulu, you, present self, would never have made it Trululu.
That's so true. That is so true. So today I just want to tell you as well, I've been listening to this book that I mentioned last time called Indistractable. It's all about not getting distracted with things.
One, you touched on Indistractable.
Yeah.
And we've got the link in the caption if anyone wants to read it. I have yet to read it, but I'm very excited to. When this goes live, we'll definitely have picked it up because I'm very much someone who is easily distracted.
And the thing, like, there's two things that I really got from this book today. I'm only halfway through it, but one thing was that the author said there was a study and it said how much self-compassion you have, so what you say to yourself and how you say it, which we talk about all the time, Laura, self-talk and how important it is the biggest factor in determining whether you will suffer with anxiety and depression. Not a terrible event that's happened, not anything else, but the self-compassion.
Okay.
So huge.
Is the studies related to it?
Yeah, that's it. The studies, that's it.
Or likely to have anxiety if I'm basically talking horrible to myself.
Yeah, but not
like what the situation is.
Yeah, so you're talking horrible like about the situation, or like you've just not got that self-compassion for yourself. Like something might happen, and it could be you that's caused it, but it's how you deal with it that determines the anxiety, the depression. But also, I've learned this so many times that the event that happens is only you give it meaning. So the event plus your reaction equals the outcome. So something that happens to you, the way you react could give you a certain outcome, and the same thing could happen to somebody else and their reaction could give them a totally different outcome. So I just feel like we've got to be aware that we don't have to just because something happens doesn't mean it's the end of the line, or things aren't going to work out for you.
Well, because like this is what I call pivoting, and also I very much believe, and I'll say this quite often, that rejection is God's protection, whatever your idea of God may be. So sometimes you might be so determined that something is for you and it doesn't happen. Actually, there might be something bigger there for you.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely. So that's
space for it, or something's made space for it. And I could probably say this about most of the men in my past.
Yes. It was God's protection.
It was God's protection at the time. Human. Now, thank God for that.
I would agree. I will actually agree with you there. Absolutely.
A whole other podcast.
At another time, another date. So, it's bedtime for me and Laura. If you're listening to this in the day, we're actually filming this at bedtime
because we committed to our download. So if you at episode 1, Shardene and I have always wanted to do podcasts, and then we decided to do one together. And we finally decided this is the way we're going to do it. So what we are doing is we are investing our mornings and our evenings together. And I also love to save time. So I decided I would be doing my makeup on the mornings and taking it off on the evening. So, expert, please do not judge me. What
if you're watching,
taking off or putting on?
I'm putting on. So I've already taken my makeup off because I went to the spa. So I was in the sauna. I did an ice bath, sauna. Yeah. Yeah. Can I just tell you one thing about ice baths, right? They're cold. But I say ice bath, it's 5 degrees.
That was fascinating.
But let me tell you something else, right? And since I've been doing the ice bath, I started about 4 months ago. It's done so much for my mental strength, like resilience. I don't go in every day, but the fact that I don't want to go in it and I get in it and I stay in it, honestly, it just makes me feel like, wow, what else can I achieve? If I can sit in this freezing cold water and not move.
Love that mentality. So I don't do ice baths. I'm quite naturally a resilient person. From my past experience. But what I'll tell you is today,
Go on.
ice bath. I had a shower, and I usually have mine quite piping hot. To be honest with you, I've got asbestos skin, and it went cold. Right, and usually my natural reaction would be to be like fiddling with the taps and being like, "Why has it gone cold?" And that's like, I'm embracing this. But I know that cold water puts you into fight or flight. So if you have that initial, like, I always think if you haven't slept well or you've got a bit of a big day, the best thing to do is just have a quick flash of cold water at the end of your shower, and it does things to you. Like, I don't know if I'm brave enough to do an ice bath like you, but I am from the northeast, so
It'd probably be like a bath to you, just like normal bath.
Yeah, but I do know that if I've got somewhere big to be, or I've got a meeting, or I need to be on my A game, blast of cold water all the time, and it does wonders for you.
I feel like it switches my brain on, so I love it. I don't, like I say, don't do it every day, but it's made such a difference to a mental strength, especially when you just don't want to do something. What if I can get in an ice bath? I can do that thing. And that's the other thing that I read in this book today. It talks about willpower, and like if you run out of willpower, sometimes you just give up for the day, don't you? You think, oh, that's it, I can't. Or like if there's something you're striving towards and your willpower runs out. But what he says is, and I feel like I need to revisit it to really implant this in my brain, but he talks about the fact that studies show that if you believe willpower is finite, that it's done, it's run out, then you won't achieve what you want. But if you just believe, actually, I might just need a bit of a rest, like, and I'll get back to it in 10 minutes, you'll make it work.
Interject with that, like, everybody always has willpower, always, but it's not a linear thing. There are times where you've got to look at everything, and if you haven't written a wobble with yourself, usually 9 times out of 10 you need a rest. So I find that if I'm having a day where I've got a colossal list, nothing is achievable, and I'm getting myself in an absolute fluster with myself, it is time to put on your walking boots and go outside and go for a walk and put your phone down. From someone who actively works on their phone, like, my screen time gets to 15 hours a day, easy. I've got 2 phones and a Mac, so add them all together, it's a lot. So you're constantly taking in all of this information all the time. That's anxiety risen as it is for your subconscious, and you don't realise, especially if you're sat there and you're aimlessly scrolling, you are taking in so much information to the point that your brain's not actually wired to take in that much information. So the overwhelm, plus the blue light, plus your to-do list, plus your life admin and everything else in between, put it down and go for a walk. It does wonders. You'll come back fresh-eyed, bushy-tailed, you'll have taken in more oxygen, and you can sit down and you just process everything so much easier. And your willpower is always there. It's always there. What happens is you're fluctuating through rest and having energy. And sometimes if your energy is depleted, you've got to basically let it replenish itself. And it's why I'm very kind of sacred about my Sundays. I mean, you'll know this. People ask me to do things all the time, and if I have had a very active work week, I will literally reply, my social battery is dead. And you all know what I mean.
And that's the difference between being a people pleaser and understanding that you have to please yourself to be able to show up. And the thing is, sometimes you'll say yes to things that you don't really want to do, and you're going to have to say no to something that is really important to you to make that happen.
That's the thing. I've only recently learned the power of no. And saying no is not necessarily saying no to like certain opportunities, but it's saying yes to something that might be bigger and better. Especially if you run off intuition like I do. I know if things are not supposed to be. Even if it might supposed to be in like the overall arching picture, but it's not supposed to be right now. Do you know what I mean? And I've always been terrible for squeezing things in. Like today I've had a bit of a squeeze in day. So I found that with my day, I need to kind of dedicate it to like one activity. So that activity might be doing design, or it might be meetings, or it might be admin work. I've got to just dedicate the one day to the one thing so my brain does it properly. Today I mixed loads of things in. I've done filming with you. I've been to a meeting. I was doing artwork, email marketing, admin, and trying to do my health and lifestyle all around that. And then when it got to 7 o'clock, when I was going to went to a gong bath, it was absolutely wonderful. Did everything I needed to do. When I was going there, my brain was chaos, and I felt the chaos, and I was like, I need this to kind of switch off. And to be honest with you, that's why I actively do things that basically calm my mind. Which, like, I mean, if anybody does meditation, I mean, it can do wonders for a calming.
Amazing meditation, but it's important to know those things for yourself. Like, make a list of those things that calm you down, and things that you might have access to just like 5 minutes in the middle of the day.
Doing an activity that might seem mindless but doesn't take any brain power. Like, I find food prep like that. Like, sometimes if like, say if it's like an awful day and I'm not going out for my walk, I will just go and chop vegetables. I love it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But like, say if I was making like a roast or something, or roasted vegetable, I've got to chop, I've got a place, and then it's repetitive. It doesn't take any brain power, but the process of is still movement. You're still achieving something at the end of it, and also you get fed. So.
I've never heard that before. I chop vegetables to clear my brain. Well, whatever works for you, I think, no judgment. You need to figure out what that is for you. And I feel like, as it's night time right now and we're going to bed in a minute, I'm just gonna say, as a lucky girl, guys, if you don't know about lucky girl syndrome, we play the game, we are lucky girls, and we talk about it all the time. We say to each other, what
moment today?
What lucky girl moment have you had one?
So, well, to explain the rules.
Okay, so the rules of the Lucky Girl Syndrome game are: you tell yourself you're the luckiest girl in the world, that everything's working out for you all the time, and your mind then goes, oh, we're lucky, let's look out for those opportunities to prove that you're lucky. That's how the mind works. So the more you tell yourself that, the more lucky things are going to happen. And if you can get yourself an accountability partner, so me and Laura do it all the time, we message each other pretty much every day, say, hey, lucky girl, what's going on? And we share what's happened that's lucky for us. But you guys can play with us if you want. You can send us a message, DM us, let us know. We will play the Lucky Girl game. So that's the Lucky Girl game.
The Lucky Girl game.
Yes.
Yeah, so Lucky Girl, to be honest with you, because it's who I am, it's money related. I was like, I put loads of invoices out recently, and some of my clients like to drag the heels.
Right.
And then I opened it, and it was all there. And I was like, I didn't have to chase anyone. And
amazing.
Thing. I love this for me.
Oh, that's so cool. Yes, I love that for you too.
When you were talking about you having like this gorgeous lucky girl energy, and I don't forget, but you are my prompt.
Yeah, because it's easy to forget. Remember, your mind's worked a certain way for all these years. It's easy to fall back, flip-flop into that other thinking. So it's okay.
Reminded me that I was a lucky girl,
and
that I went a lucky girl, and I've had so many wonderful things fall into my lap, whether full fruition or the invoices are paid. Love this for us.
I love that.
Opportunities have presented themselves or progressed, And I'm like, I absolutely love this. And also as well, it's kind of opened my mind creatively, like creatively. Words off. Creatively with what we're doing on here, because we've streamlined the process and things like that. Like out of me and Shardene is very much the creative with this. I am the systematic approach. So I'll sit and think and I'm like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to make this easy to manage and put out there where we get full volume? And it just all fell into place in my head without me having to overthink. And I think at one point we had about 8 notes going on with things we had to do, edit, and now there's 2. Now there's 2, and I'm like, this is
always working out for us. That's the thing. Everything's always working out. That's the thing that you've got to keep saying to yourself. Everything's working out perfectly, always.
And this is the whole documentation of mine and your journey, irrespective of each other, but also at the same time for us to kind of document that things are working out for us. And I want to bring everybody watching along.
Yeah, and
so just some things that we do in our daily lives that are Delulu if you're not on the level.
Yeah.
But it's working out. I ain't questioning it.
It's going to work out. I mean, that's the key, isn't it? We don't see the obstacle. We don't think about how. We just know what we want. We follow the Delulu. So the Delulu is the download, the idea that comes to you. It can be the law of attraction, manifestation, all the things that people think are a bit woo-woo that we love. That's part of the Delulu. And we just follow the Delulu. And you can see where the Delulu is taking us. Like, you can watch it unfold in real time. I'm so excited. So excited for us. So guys, you've got to play the lucky girl game because you are the luckiest girls in the world.
The luckiest girls. Hello, tell us how lucky you are. I want to know. Well,
you know what? Today has been such a great day full of laughter. I feel like, do you know how many times like a child laughs every day? It's like hundreds of times a child will laugh, and a grown up, an adult, will laugh like 2 or 3 times a day. Yeah. So, no, not you, not us. But I always strive for more laughter in my life. I feel so amazing because laughter releases endorphins, doesn't it? It makes you feel good. Today, I've had like the funniest time. I went into work and we were talking about cringe crushes, like who was your cringe crush when you were younger? And honestly, I was laughing. So I was saying my cringe crush is Justin Timberlake, right? Because I look now and I just think, ow, why?
Who is?
Well, who?
Alan Rickman. I loved him. Loved Alan Rickman.
But in like, what?
Really? Even though he was with
so you love the cheating husband. That's so funny. But we were laughing because we had all sorts of like cringe crushes. And it's not like there's anything wrong with those men. Well, debatably Justin Timberlake, but nothing that not saying there's nothing wrong, that we're just like looking back and going, why? What, like I'm cringing. The hair. The noodle hair.
Hero Justin Timberlake. Oof. I was a Lance Bass girl.
Oh yeah, well, good taste. A good taste. I think that's amazing taste. I think any of them over Justin. Any of them. I love Justin Timberlake. So yeah, we were just, and honestly, I just laughed my head off, and I was just like, I'm so lucky that I can spend an afternoon working and laughing so much. Like, this is work for me to say, like, who's your cringe crush? Like, and honestly, we were just like going down this rabbit hole because people were like saying, oh, some guy from JLS, and then we were playing the songs, and we were just having like an absolute riot, and I just felt so lucky in that moment. And I know it's not nothing to do with money, it's not even anything to do with like big goals coming true, but I feel like this is part of lucky girl syndrome. It's all of it. You've got to appreciate the big things and the little things. And honestly, it filled me with joy today. I felt so lucky that I did that for work.
Energy. Do you know? Well, I do think situations are what you make it. So if you look into it as a lucky girl, full of laughter and having a laugh, and you're still productive and everything still gets done, why can't you laugh about it? Exactly. Why does it be an absolute slog? Because it really doesn't. Do not.
No. So go to bed tonight. I don't know when you're going to be listening to this, but this is bedtime for us. So I know when I get into bed, I like to have a little reflect on the day and think, what were the things that I feel luckiest about. Like, I reflect on the lucky things. Sometimes I'll journal and write it down, but I just think it's a really good way to end the day, just reflecting, because you can think, what's the luckiest thing that happened to me? And in order to get to the luckiest thing, you've got to go through every lucky thing that happened, and you can just give gratitude for that. And it's such a nice way to end the day. And then before I go to sleep, I like to think about all those Delulus that are going to be coming Trululu for me, and let my mind work on them whilst I'm asleep. So that's what I'm about to do in a little bit.
I love this for you. I've already done my to-do list for tomorrow, which you spoke about in the other episode. So my to-do list is boxed, so I know exactly what I'm doing tomorrow, and I'll process it. And in that moment, I don't have to think about what I'm doing. I'm just going to show up and be a lucky girl and enjoy every single moment.
Amazing. I love it. So, guys, that's the end of this episode of Delulu and the Solulu Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Shardene.
I'm Laura.
Yay! So all the information's in the show notes. Come follow us on social media. Send us your Delulus as well, because we can talk about, we'll solve your Delulus on the podcast. We'll come up with a Solulu for your Delulu, so it'll become Trululu. Okay. I know, love that tagline. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
You will indeed. Over and out.
Bye.